now listening to the IndieEye Film Awards podcast.
Welcome to the IndieEye Film Awards podcast for July of 2021. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dre.
And we're here to talk about our winners and some submissions for the month of July. How are you doing, Dre?
Well, we live together, so I'm pretty sure you know exactly how I'm doing.
You know, we do live together, but we almost live on separate floors because we're so busy working. You're downstairs in your office area. I'm upstairs in my office. So it's nice that once a month we get to come together and talk about movies. Yeah. You know, we should do this more often. Last month we received a ton of documentaries that were so tough to go through. We had, not tough as in, oh, these movies are terrible, but we received a lot of great submissions in the documentary categories.
It was tough to choose.
Right. And some hard decisions. And this month it was the same thing, but for narrative, particularly in narrative shorts. So we've got a lot to talk about there. And I know everyone's tuning in to find out did our movie win anything, but just give us a moment here because I want to talk about a few things. Like, number one, the love we're getting on Film Freeway from folks who have been a part of IndieEye is overwhelming. And thank you all so much for leaving reviews about IndieEye on Film Freeway. You know, that helps other filmmakers realize that, you know,
we're out there.
We're out there and that you are getting something out of our, what are we doing? Out of our efforts here to expose and bring a little bit more light to indie films. Because it's a mess out there with these online film festivals. And again, we come here to do the podcast so that you can actually hear somebody react to your films. And as a side note for that, it's a bummer when your film submission receives a not selected email from Film Freeway. I know that. My films have been not selected to festivals, and that sucks no matter what festival it is. And you just, most of the time, you never know why. You don't have any indication. And I can tell you that having run IndieEye since February, boy, it could be a wide range of things. It just doesn't fit in that particular time frame for that festival. If it's a live festival, maybe it's just difficult to program, or it doesn't fit with their theme. I know there have been things that we received that we didn't select that they're not necessarily bad projects, but they really don't fit with us. And we're just not the right place to spotlight that project. So if you've received a not selected and you're still listening, thank you very much for still supporting us, because I know it's a bitter taste to receive that not selected notification. But also, if you're curious, why weren't we selected for IndieEye? Feel free to email me, Matt, at hello@IndieEyeFilmAwards.com and ask me, and I will absolutely have that private conversation with you. I don't want to put anybody on blast, by name or by movie here on the podcast, because I'm not trying to rain down negativity on anybody. And I don't think people are looking for that. But if you are curious and you're listening to the podcast and you weren't selected, feel free to email us and I will have that conversation with you. I don't want to use the podcast to talk about.
That's not what it's for.
This film didn't make it because of this. So I just want to let people know that. Also, I wanted to give another shout out to our friends Dan and Jared at the Indie Film Review podcast, and just remind everybody who's listening, we are not affiliated with their podcast, but I want everyone to know that podcast exists. It's the Indie Film Review podcast, and you can find them on Instagram at Indie Film Review Pod or on Twitter at Indie Film Pod. And you can find the podcast anywhere podcasts are. But you can email them, submit your film for a review, and they will watch it, they will talk about it, and it's really fun. And they also have a Patreon, which allows people to support them via the Patreon and pay just a little bit to have your film moved up in their queue, because they do have a lot of requests. So they've created a Patreon to, number one, help fund their own show. They do it out of their own pockets. And it allows those who really want those reviews soon to pay a little bit of money so you can go up in the queue and just not have to wait a couple of months. So that's Indie Film Review Podcast. Dan and Jared, they do a really good job. They're super fair. They're super fun to listen to. And go check them out. Speaking of reviews, we don't talk about this a whole lot, but through IndieEye, we do provide written reviews. And that option is found via Film Freeway, where you're submitting your film. You can choose a review. It is, I think for gold, I think it's $45. But you will get a written review that we put on our website. And we offer that because it's also fairly challenging to find places that will do written reviews for indie films. Now, I will warn you, I'm going to be honest in my review. And so if you submit for a review, I will certainly consider it. I really sit down and put a lot of time into what I want to say about it. You know, the film gets watched a couple more times and things get really scrutinized. But we do offer that.
And you can actually go look at other reviews that we've done for films on our website.
Right. There's a handful there.
Yep.
We have a new one this month on a film called Station to Station. That's definitely worth checking out. You want to go right to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com and check out the review section. And if you know of anybody who's looking for reviews of their film, have them submit to IndieEye and select a film review. And I will do my best to properly represent your film. And you wanted to mention the laurels again, Dre?
Yeah, just real quick, just a reminder that when you get a notification that you're either an honorable mention or that you've won in a category, there will be a link to the pre-made custom laurels that we have made for you in that email. So you do not have to go create your own on Film Freeway. You can just use the ones that we have already provided for you with our branding, and that would be super, super awesome if you used those.
And I've noticed more people are doing that now. I don't know if I saw anything that was just the generic generated
Great.
Film Freeway stuff. So
Good.
Thank you all for being very purposeful and going
And paying attention to the link.
Getting our laurels and sharing them out there. I love seeing our logo and stuff on your movie posters and your Instagram posts. I think that's just so much fun for us.
Helpful for all of us. Okay, let's talk movies.
I want to talk movies. There's so many fun things to say. Now, we're going to start just by talking about our honorable mentions for this month, because the way it worked out with awards is there are 4 films total that earned awards in July. And we had a lot of submissions. But the way things worked out, these 4 films collected all of the available awards.
Yeah, they did.
That we had. So talk about trying to be fair, just being honest and true to who we are and trying to represent what you're submitting. We don't spread things out just to get more attention and stuff. I'm like, if you've submitted this and you're in this category also and it's going to win.
Good enough.
It's going to win.
Yeah.
And our 4 films that we're going to talk about later really just were kind of monsters this month.
Yeah, they definitely hit all the marks.
But for honorable mentions, I want to start with one of our favorites that we watched was a short that was directed by Jeff Rose called Manhunt. And it's kind of the horror genre, but it's only 10 minutes, and it's just fun. This is produced by Morgan Marie, who also plays Callie, the lead in Manhunt. And I thought she was phenomenal. She really did so much in such a short period of time. It was fun to watch her. It was fun to watch these friends. And I guess I should talk about the premise. Callie and a friend go to a party where they end up playing this game. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's a thriller game.
It's super ambitious for what they were doing. And I felt like after we watched, I felt like I wish I would have been there during production just to watch these kids do their thing. because it seems like they've put so much work into it, from production design, costuming. It was really well thought out as far as what they were going to do. They're going inside, they're outside. And there's a lot of work involved with this. And I can tell that this group probably, at least this is the impression I got, they probably worked really well together, had their stuff together, and just, I felt they did an amazing job. And unfortunately, there was tougher competition this month, but Manhunt is definitely an honorable mention for us, and I think folks should be able to check it out. Go, you can always go, by the way, now that, by the time you hear this podcast, the winners page will have been published. So you can always go to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com to our winners page for the month, and we have images and we have the winners listed, but we also put up the images that we can and any links that we have for these films, so that you can go follow the filmmakers or the film. And sometimes you can watch the trailer, or you have just the full option to watch the film. So go check out what you can for Manhunt, and hopefully you get to watch it. I think this would be something really fun to watch in October for reasons. But what did you think about it?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I liked that they had makeup, they played their characters. They weren't just static. I felt like their chemistry together was good. There was some humor that was sprinkled throughout, and I thought it was a fun watch, even though maybe it was supposed to be more of a thriller, but it was fun either way.
Yeah, it was definitely fun, and I'll tell you, I laughed out loud when one of the girls says, and she's at the party, and she says, "Nobody had my cakes. They're vanilla." And I have no idea why that's so funny to me, but I thought that was a brilliant line.
Yeah, it came at a great time in the scene.
Yeah.
And it was just well-timed, well-written.
Well, great job, Jeff Rose. Great job, Morgan Marie, and the entire cast of Manhunt, and everybody involved in making the film possible. You guys definitely deserve applause for what you've done, and I'm looking forward to something else that you're doing down the road. So thank you for submitting, and thanks for giving us a fun 10 minutes to watch. I appreciate it. Now, Yuri Brown submitted her film, Cursed Angel, and this was a narrative short that I think has a super great premise. I really like what's going on with Yuri Brown as a writer, as a director, as an actor. And, again, competition was tough in this particular category, but we couldn't get away without giving her an honorable mention for this film, because there's a lot there. The synopsis is an angel kills bad guys to get back to heaven. And I thought, this is so cool. Like this, this is it's
a redemption story.
Right. And it's a character you can build on. It's something that could expand into a much bigger universe. I thought she did an amazing job, and I would love to see this go forward or continue into something else. And I'm seeing, at least for July, I feel like that about several of our submissions, is that these were great little proof of concept type things where you want to see more. And much of this is just shot beautifully. The actors look good. Things sound good. Just Yuri Brown did an amazing job putting this together and having to be this character. So great job to Yuri Brown and your team. Cursed Angel is an honorable mention for IndieEye for July. And thank you for submitting. A narrative feature that we received that I definitely consider an honorable mention is Proverbs 31 by Jamal Jones. This is where I have to get a little real. I love the idea behind this movie. I think Jamal Jones took on something super huge and got it done, and it's finished and it's out there. I think there are some technical issues with this film, which is what really, held it up in competition, because technically it is not perfect, and we're not looking for perfect, but there was it's an hour and 22 minutes where just some of the visuals, to me, weren't up to par. Some of the audio, not up to par. Some of the cutting was a little rough, but I love his story. It's about two marriages that are challenged when life-changing situations take effect. And I'm a fan of these types of like Christian-based things, even going to Cursed Angel. Like in all ways, I'm always looking for how can people take these faith-based films and make them entertaining for a broader audience. Because let's be real, right? Most faith-based films are so cookie cutter and often really, really bad.
They're like Hallmark movies. They're just all the same.
Yeah, well, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But, there's a little more production value in a Hallmark movie.
This is true.
But I love the story Jamal was telling here. And so his story definitely earns honorable mention for Proverbs 31. I just think I want to give Jamal a proper crew and a proper budget, and then let him really spread his wings and do his thing directorially in writing. But congratulations on getting this feature film completed, Jamal. You are definitely an honorable mention for IndieEye in July. And thanks for submitting. Appreciate it. Then our fourth honorable mention for July was a short narrative film called Way Up There. And this is directed by Scott Peebles.
I really enjoyed the look of this film. And actually from the very beginning, I was kind of captivated with not only just the way that it looked, how it was shot, the cinematography was beautiful, but the characters and like the actors really brought me into the character. So that definitely bravo to the director, obviously, and the actors, because I really did feel like I knew what the characters were up to, and I definitely felt their story for sure.
And the premise is that two estranged brothers go on a journey of reconnection to spread their mother's ashes. And there's a lot here that I kind of relate to, and I really loved the film, and I hated the ending, but in a good way, because I was like, I'm getting allergies.
Were your eyes getting a little prickly?
But so these guys really nail the heart of the story, and Scott Peebles did a wonderful job directing. Where this fell short for me and took it out of competition and made it an honorable mention was that I felt like the audio needed like 2 more days of proper care. And I know I gripe about audio all the time, but when we have scene changes and things and audio doesn't transition very smooth, that really takes me out of the film. And I just think there are very super simple things that can be done in these instances where I think when people are making stuff, these things kind of get overlooked. But I'll tell you what, Scott can direct his butt off, and these actors were phenomenal. They told a great story, and they're all young. So there's only going up from here. I mean, this is a 15, almost 16-minute short film, and Scott's going to get even better. So he's a problem. And I appreciated watching it. I thought it was really good. Again, our narrative shorts competition was pretty tough this month. But Scott, your Way Up There is definitely an honorable mention. And I'm certain that I'm going to see it have won awards in other festivals. So you guys should only be proud, pat each other on the back, and keep going and keep making stuff because you got it, dude.
So those were all of our honorable mentions for July. Do you want to start talking about winners now?
Yeah, and let's just start with the one we did the written review of, I did the written review of this month, and it's Station to Station. So I'll try to keep what we say here short, because you can hop over to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com
/reviews
and read the review there. And you can check out the winners page and go see what you can see about the film itself. But this is directed and written by Benjamin Bryant, and it's a very bold, gutsy, provocative feature film about a character named Tom who has to leave New York and moves to Las Vegas, and he really gets himself into some situations. And what Benjamin did so brilliantly here is that he's got a lot of characters he's working with, but Tom is your main protagonist. And his progression and his journey is so interesting. You never really know what to expect. There's just stuff that goes on in this film. You're like, oh my gosh, how did he get these people to do these things? But I thought it was super bold and well crafted. And it's a 2 hour and 8 minute feature film. Your feature film better be good. Your indie feature film better really be good for 2 hours and 8 minutes. And he does that. It plays just fine. It's never overly bloated. Now, I do have some comments in the written review about some things I would have done during some character dialogue exchanges, some like exposition dumps that I just wish were more layered, that had a little more texture to those specific scenes. But overall, fun watch, super fun watch. And I'm going to talk about the cast here in a minute, but let's just say right now, Station to Station is our best feature for July of 2021.
Yay!
David Eggers, who plays Tom, the lead, takes home our Best Actor award for July. But also, this is such an ambitious film. There's a pretty sizable cast in it, and they're all brilliant. Particularly Jordan Getty in this film, who plays Jordan in the film. These two, Tom and Jordan, play off each other so well and make the film so interesting. Station to Station earns our Best Ensemble Cast for July of 2021.
Yay! And
again, I say a little bit more about this film on our written review, so I'll leave that to the listener to go check that review out. I hope Ben and his team are happy with that review. And I wish these guys luck moving forward with this film. And I think Benjamin Bryant has a really bright future in what he's doing. Feature films are really tough to make. And I thought, for this being his debut, it is just super successful, and I wish him the best. From Racy to LOL, Dre, what was our most enjoyable watch of July?
For sure, 100% Mr. Theme Music.
Mr. Theme Music. Oh my gosh. I don't think in these many months we've been doing IndieEye, I've laughed out loud so much.
Yeah, this was a LOL all day long.
Right. And gosh, so much fun they must have had writing this and shooting this and putting this together. And this is a 19-minute narrative short film, and let's just get this out of the way. Mr. Theme Music wins our Best Narrative Short for July of 2021.
Yay!
Kudos to director Jason Land, who brought this to us. It was such a fun watch, and what I love most about this movie is that the premise, which I'll talk about in a second, is just something different.
Yeah.
So often we get indie films that are, their internal struggles.
Yes, they're struggling with their angst.
Bad company logo, alarm clock, somebody wakes up, their life is drab. They have to talk to people about how drab their life is. But no, Mr. Theme Music is this: a struggling musician trying to build his business of playing theme music for your day gets hired by the wrong client. So this is a man traveling around with a keyboard to play theme music for your day or for your special moments. And it's as fun as it sounds. And Tony Rataj, I believe is his name, who plays the lead, Eddie, he was so much fun to watch.
Oh, so good.
And a super fun cast. And just twists and turns that you don't expect, and things that are fun to watch. They really lean in to the cheese of it.
But not like cheesy.
Not unaware that you're cheesy.
Yeah.
You're doing this intentionally because it's funny.
Yeah.
And that's what I love. And little things like what I'm going to explain right now. There's a scene where Eddie is sitting on the couch and he's talking to his friend. Now, in a lot of films, the director might have just put those two friends sitting on the couch together. But his friend is sitting on top of the couch.
Against the wall, yep.
Against the wall, while Eddie is sitting just on the couch. And I it's little things like that I notice, and I'm like, that was a choice. And thank you for making a choice. And yeah, it's something so simple. And whether that was the director or the actor saying, maybe I should sit up here, I don't know.
But it was a good decision.
It is. Because and I'm going to say this a lot about some of these films, is that a lot of the times it feels like this was your first pass at the screenplay, and there was no thought given to the particular scenes of how to change things up. Because look, and I know I'm supposed to be talking about Mr. Theme Music, but I'm going to take, this is Matt's Director's Corner, where I take my unsolicited opinion and shove it down your ears. If you've thought of it and wrote it and shot it, it's probably cliche. So, just because there's a billion movies ever made, a billion stories told, and we write what we're familiar with and put it out there. But when you write your scenes and your dialogue and you're shooting your things, try to stop, take another pass at what you wrote, see if you could say that in a different way. What is the message of this scene? What do these characters need to convey to each other? What is the lesson from the scene that needs to lead us to the next scene? What makes us have to see the next scene? And instead of, a character saying, it's really hot in this room, try to find a different way to convey that message. And that's just general advice for everybody making films or writing. But it's the little things. Do something that's not standard. Don't use a blank wall as your backdrop. Dress that set a little bit.
Give it some depth.
Some of you could use a tripod in your productions. Handheld isn't always good.
And it's not always the best thing for the story either.
Right. So just anyways, my side.
And rant.
Yeah, I know. But, I figure
yeah,
I want people to do things and make things better. And it's not that my word is gospel. I'm just giving you advice from Matt. That's all it is. But, this made me think of it when they had Eddie sitting down and his friend is sitting on top of the couch. That breaks it up a little bit. It's a little different. So, and it's those types of things where I go, Jason Land was a thoughtful director. And I really love everything they did here. It's funny. The music is fun. And
I also feel like the actors had range. They had different kinds of scenes that they had to do. They had to do more serious scenes. They had to do kind of funny scenes. They had, just a range of emotions that they had to convey. And I felt like they did all of those, showed all of those emotions, conveyed all of those emotions very well.
I guarantee you 0% of our audience got that obscure Greg the Bunny reference.
Well, that's what it's from.
Yes.
You people, you don't have a range.
I'm an actor. I have range.
Oh wait, it was you people, you don't know comedy.
Well, that's a different part.
But same character.
From Warren the Ape. Gosh, that was a great show. If you haven't seen Greg the Bunny,
oh my gosh,
try to go find that.
it.
Anyway, so Jason Land, great job with Mr. Theme Music.
Super fun.
Tony Rataj, great job in your part. The entire cast made this film so much fun to watch. We really appreciate it. We laughed out loud.
All the little times that, well, I don't want to give anything away, but
yeah,
all the little additions that you hope are out of the frame and then they pop into the frame are very much appreciated.
Yes, they definitely made it as fun as it could possibly be.
Yeah.
And is it technically perfect? No, but it didn't need to be because it's just fun. And that's what indie film's all about. We don't have a budget, and we don't always have qualified, talented, experienced people around us trying to help, but we have people who are trying to help, and things don't turn out right. But this is one of those things where it didn't matter because the premise was fresh, and it was fun, and your actors did a great job, and you did a great job, Jason. So congratulations to you guys for being our best narrative short. So now there are 2 films left for us to talk about. And I must preface the next one by saying July of 2021 was our first month of opening up a horror category. And people jumped on that immediately. But Chris Hall sent us What the Devil Said. And he sent this to us on July 1st.
Yeah.
He was ready to go, which is awesome. And I had seen his poster, and I was interested in seeing the film, so I was so glad that he submitted. It's a really cool premise, which is a car accident leaves a man fighting to grasp reality as he is convinced that he encounters figures of darkness and even the devil himself. And in this 30-minute horror short, what I thought Chris did really well was he kept me watching, he kept me wondering what they were going to do next. And the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, the title of the movie is What the Devil Said. So when do we get to that part? And you do. But you need to watch the film. So, I'll only really talk about things that are in their synopsis. Yet he does see figures of darkness, which they're eerie. I don't know. It's this weird borderline. It really walks a fine line of a bad effect, but I don't know how they did it. And it's eerie, and they have a really eerie noise.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
That plays with them. Mm-hmm. So it works for me.
It did.
Although my brain is like, that shouldn't work for you, but it does. And like, there's some of the shots they did. I'm like, how in the heck did you achieve that? And there's some really great camera play with it as well. This is a good horror short. Now, short is in quotation marks because it is 30 minutes. And before I talk about the really, really, really good stuff, I need to be honest and talk about a few things with this film, just technically. It's shot well. It sounds good. The care is there. But I think What the Devil Said has about 20% that could be with a scalpel cut from the film. I believe there is a subplot that exists that doesn't have anything to do with the main narrative that I don't think is necessary at all.
I don't feel like it gave any weight to the characters. It didn't feel like it needed to be there.
Yeah, it's not something that this particular story needs, because I think, it comes in at 30 minutes. I think a 15 to 20 minute version of What the Devil Said exists in that edit that is a super strong proof of concept, because this is not a technically perfect film, but it doesn't need to be. If this was pitched as a proof of concept, what Chris Hall is doing and the story he's telling here is a super strong, like, it made me think, okay, where can we go from here? When it was over, I'm like, we can do a lot more here. This opens up into, and you got to watch.
Yeah, you need
all the way through.
And it doesn't end before the credits.
Right. I think Marvel has trained us now. We better watch every second.
Watch until the lights come on in the theater.
People in all departments of filmmaking are now, yay, people have to see our name because everyone's going to stay and watch the credits, which we do, because I'm always hoping for a little piece at the end now. And thankfully you do get that with What the Devil Said. But I think there's so much potential here that if he went in and cut some of these things down, and not just in this particular subplot that has to deal with the main character and his wife, but there are some dialogue exchanges that feel like there's extra words here that could be condensed.
Or repeated phrases that don't necessarily need to be repeated.
Sort of, yeah.
Much.
I just think you can get to what you're saying in the scene a lot faster.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stretches. That's a tricky thing, because as an editor or as a director, maybe, you're feeling this a certain way to build tension a certain way, and I get that. But again, I just assert that there is a 15 to 20 minute version of What the Devil Said that is a killer proof of concept to go pitch for maybe like, a Netflix series or something like that, or a feature film. But I just think the premise of the whole thing was great. And I really appreciated the film. And it was so good, in fact, Chris, that What the Devil Said is our best horror film for July of 2021.
Yay.
And Chris, you are our best director of July of 2021.
Yay.
And I'll tell you the reason why, because the best director was really, really tough. But I felt like Chris was absolutely the guy this month who nailed it in having me wonder what comes next. What comes next? Now, let me stop and pause because I'm hitting you with criticism and then praise. And now here's a little more criticism. And this is just personal message between me and you, Chris. Nobody else listen, okay?
Everybody close your ears.
Close your ears. Chris, there was many times in What the Devil Said where I would look to Dre and tell her the line that's coming up. So I knew what your characters were going to say before they said it. And I tell you this because, again, like I mentioned before, if you guys have written out a scene, try to find a way to say the things you're trying to say differently or in an unexpected way. I felt the dialogue was incredibly predictable. Now, the story wasn't, but I felt the character's dialogue was predictable. So there's a distinction there. And, that's why you end up with 30 to 60 drafts of a screenplay. You vomit the entire story out, then you condense it down, and then you try to find ways to layer subtext and, try to show, not tell, not show. And I felt like this dialogue for What the Devil Said could have used a little more finesse. That being said, the story keeps you hanging on. So that has a lot to say about you as a director, that even though this dialogue was kind of predictable, your choices and what you were showing me and what you were doing were super, super interesting. So congratulations on Best Director, and thank you for submitting. But also, my man, Michael Antonio Gonzalez, who got some love from us a couple months back in Low Heat, comes in as Dr. Ernesto Camaras in this film, and he wins our Best Supporting Actor.
Yay!
There's something about Michael and his performances that I'm just really glued to, and we've had some actors like this throughout IndieEye where I love to see when they're in a film because they're fun to watch, and I think Michael's really good. He's got a lot of range. He takes it serious. And, I follow him on Instagram. I just think he's a great guy. So his performance, which is super key to the ending of What the Devil Said, was pretty awesome. So good job to him. I mean, the cast in What the Devil Said, they were good, but I feel like the dialogue kind of held some of the actors back. When I'm predicting the dialogue that's coming, it's hard to get involved in a performance, from my perspective. So you had Warren Franks, who was actually the lead playing Sebastian. He had a lot to do, and I think he did it really well. Kendall Aguilar as Lauren, his wife, had a lot to do, and she did it really well, but I felt like her subplot didn't help the story. So she didn't get a lot to do regarding the actual meat of the film. All in all, What the Devil Said was just an absolute fun watch. And thank you, Chris, for submitting. You guys should be really proud of what you created. And I hope, I want to see this go somewhere else. So I'm excited to see, I'm trying to follow on Instagram, what other awards are they getting? And what's the trajectory of Chris's career? And Michael Antonio Gonzalez, I'd love to work with this guy someday. But What the Devil Said is definitely a great watch, and I hope people get a chance to see it. Okay, so we've gushed about these little darlings of our festival, the winners who took home some multiples. But now we have something that just blew us away. And when our final film here that we're going to talk about was submitted, it was submitted under two different categories: doc short and music video, with some other category considerations included. And I thought, doc short?
That's weird.
And music video? Do you people even know how to do this?
Do you know what kind of film you made?
What's a doc short music video? And I thought, okay, well, one of these is going to be a mistake, and we're going to have to...
Refund.
We're going to have to talk to these people. Oh, no. They know what they're doing.
They know exactly what they're doing.
So the movie, or the project we're talking about, is called Recomposed. Submitted by Gnarly Bay, directed by Jordan Ingram. And it stars Jared Blizzard, who is a composer and did the sound design. And this is, honestly, a doc short and a music video. And it's one of the most stunning things we have seen at IndieEye.
Like, it's giving me chills right now thinking about it.
Like, the best part, like, stop the podcast right now. Go to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com. Go to the winners page, and we have the link to this. They have it on Vimeo, so you can watch it right now. Forget the podcast. Go watch this, because anything we say beyond this will make no sense. Well, probably no one's listening except for the people involved with this film at this point. But this is an amazing project, and what it is, let me try to explain this. You have a small story. This is... what, 10 minutes? 9 minutes.
Yeah, 9 minutes.
9 minutes long. God, it felt like it was 30 seconds. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
A man picks up a used piano.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful piano.
And cinematography.
I know.
Man picks up this used piano, and it's about refurbishing this piano and finding the music within the piano to create music. And it's about the legacy of music that one might create. And that's all well and good. But what they did here was, and congratulations and kudos to director of photography Tyler Murgo. I hate you. You make me want to quit my job.
But in the best way.
Yes, absolutely. Everything about this is so beautiful and so well thought out, so well shot.
Yeah, there was never a throwaway shot. Never.
This is technically perfect.
Yeah.
From the sound design. Good job, Jared. Obviously, the cinematography is beautiful. The color is beautiful. The editing is amazing.
Flawless.
So I just...
Can we think of some more words to say? Because I just feel like... amazing.
Yeah, I know. And, we're going to sound like a broken record here, but I'm sure they don't mind hearing
Probably
that.
not.
But there's narration over some brilliant piano playing, but it's this wonderful mix of sounds. And what I particularly locked in on was the brilliant use of the metronome.
Yes, that was so fun.
With like a touch, just the right touch of like reverb to it. And it was used so brilliantly. And that just really drew me in. And it keeps the film going when when it's not acting as a music video. You can have that touch of metronome that keeps you going to a beat.
Keeps the rhythm of the film.
Thank you. That's the actual English words I should be using.
Don't ask me to spell rhythm, but I can say it.
Right. Yes. And there are shots out in the snow where they reversed it so the snow looks like it's falling up. There are beautiful macro shots of
the keys
and the piano. The way that Jared is restoring and refurbishing this piano. It's just a beautiful story with beautiful music and beautiful everything, and it makes me want to quit. I just want to go home and turn off the cameras, forget it,
and just be like, "This guy's gonna do it all. It's fine."
Yeah, but it's so inspiring. It makes me want to break out my macro lenses and go have more fun. But
and it also made me want to bring my beautiful yellow piano from my garage into my home, in which my husband is not keen on. But
Thank you,
You
Jordan
have
Ingram, for
inspired
inspiring
me.
my wife to bring a piano that nobody plays
It doesn't matter.
into our house.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
No,
Okay.
it doesn't matter.
We'll pause this marital spat so that we could celebrate these guys.
What are we celebrating exactly?
Let me grab my list here. Okay, so Recomposed. Oh, and by the way, what about that title sequence?
Oh, I know.
Come on.
Okay, listen. Indie films.
Oh boy, here we go. All right, listen. This is going to apply to a lot of you, and I'm sorry, but here's the truth. Go ahead.
I am a graphic designer, but you do not have to be a graphic designer to have good titling. Indie films, it seems as though they just have given zero consideration to the titling. It's always just kind of like, okay?
Yep.
It is.
It's often a last moment consideration.
Yeah.
It's often bad text.
Yes.
Bad color.
Bad color. Please don't use red text.
Bad placement. Well, for something like What the Devil Said on the poster, that
fine.
works. So let's just clarify that.
Fine.
But and I think a lot of the times, boy, we're getting way off into the weeds.
I know.
But a lot of the times, the editor will find like a default
Yeah, like a plugin.
built-in action. No, not even a plugin, but
okay.
like an in-program default, something a title does, and they go with that.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay,
you could
but
spot it.
but if you want to know, if you want to see what a good title sequence should look like, Recomposed is it. Because it was so simple and so effective and so beautiful.
And for all you
That's all I'm
content
saying.
creators and editors and filmmakers, you will appreciate their title
Yes.
sequence because it's something we all do. But okay, so Recomposed. Are you guys sitting down or stand up? Clap. It's okay.
Because I'm going to clap.
So Recomposed certainly earns our best music video.
Yay.
It earns our best doc short.
Yay.
So you won 2 completely different categories.
Yep, for the same
Same thing. But you also win, I think this is obvious, best cinematography.
Yay.
Tyler Murgo, who makes me want to quit. Clearly, best original song, music, and score. For a film.
Amen.
Absolutely, without a doubt, best sound design.
Yay.
Jared Blizzard, you were a pleasure to watch in this film. Your talents are amazing. Jordan Ingram, you're directing out of this world. Just everybody involved with creating this film and the look and the tone and the feel. It's brilliant.
It is a masterpiece.
Your team at Gnarly Bay is amazing. And it was just an honor to get to watch Recomposed. And couldn't have been more thrilled with it. So now you see 4 films pretty much ran the table
they
on
slipped.
everything. So great job to all of you. Again, thank you everybody for submitting and keeping this little IndieEye Film Awards thing going.
For us and for you.
Yeah, it's such a treat for us to get to see these things and be inspired by things like What the Devil Said and Recomposed and Mr. Theme Music. All of these films we mentioned, you guys are inspiring us. I hope the other folks who are listening, check it out at the winners page. Where can they go to find the winners?
I believe that the web address is
IndieEyeFilmAwards.com. And go follow your fellow filmmakers who were in IndieEye. And support these projects. Check these projects out. Seriously, go watch Recomposed right now.
Watch it twice.
At least. So thank you all again for submitting. And we will be back in August and looking forward to fresh new films. We're surprised every month with the things you all are giving us. Thank you so much for the opportunity to watch your films, to talk about your films. And thank you again for the reviews on Film Freeway. I think Film Freeway automatically generates emails to people to say, hey, write a review. When I get those auto-generated things, I never do it. So you guys who are doing it, thank you so much. You're really going out of your way to show us love, and I appreciate that. And if you have any questions, anything you want us to address in August's episode, shoot us an email at hello@IndieEyeFilmAwards.com. Or
follow us on Instagram.
You can follow us on Instagram. You can drop a comment in the YouTube comments. And that's it. So we'll get out of here. Thank you for listening. And
bye.
If you'd like your project discussed on the podcast, go to IndieEyeFilmAwards.com and submit to our open monthly competition. Find us on Instagram and YouTube, IndieEye Film Awards. Thanks for listening to this episode of IndieEye.